Reach, we are live, right?
Yeah, I've sent it on WhatsApp.
Cool.
Hey guys, thanks for coming. We'll be starting in another 3 to 4 minutes. This is the demo class for the consulting course.
I've announced it everywhere. We can begin.
Anjum, I think you can start. Harshdeep, Anjum. Anjum, are you there? Harshdeep.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Hi Harish, am I audible?
Yeah, you guys can start.
Thank you so much. So hi guys, can you just put into the chat whether if my screen is visible?
Yeah, Joe, it's visible.
ठीक है, thank you. So hi guys, good evening. Thank you so much for coming in. Before we start talking about what is consulting and why is it so exciting and why we feel that you should do this course, um, I'll introduce myself. I'm Anjum. I was the president of Bitsko Consulting Club. I founded the consulting club, and we did over 10 live projects over a course of 1.5 years. And personally, I have taught over 400 students across India and abroad in the world of consulting. And even I've taught students from Dubai. And I worked at PwC for the data analytics and the consulting division, where I consulted a utility as part of PwC, and my stint was around 3.5 years. So I know decently about consulting, and that is why I'm very looking forward to teaching this course. Harshdeep, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so I'm Harshdeep Singh. I'm a student at BITS Planigura campus. I'm a fourth year student right now. I've been a part of this BITSCO Consulting Club for the past 1.5 years from now. I've worked on several projects, which range from go-to-market strategy making for a fitness application, or even designing logistics and operation for a bakery, a frozen food company. I've also worked on finance-based projects, which include the decentralized finance, which is booming right now, the crypto. I've interned at Satwa Consulting. I was a part of the CSR advisory team over there, and we consulted clients such as the National Stock Exchange Bombay. That was our major client. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this course, and yeah.
Thank you, Harshdeep. Thank you so much. Right. So we just want to set some ground rules before we start. We all understand that we have generally taken lot larger courses than this. So, but this time with Clinify, we are trying to do a very much smaller course in terms of the cohort size that we have. So we just wanted to keep it very interactive and talk to you and what you think about what is consulting and how you want to make a career in consulting, or just understand what this industry is. So can anyone unmute themselves and just talk about why did they join and why do they feel that they want to understand the world of consulting? Anyone is uh, can anyone volunteer? Nikita, Naman, Nishad, Prachi. अच्छा
Yeah,
ठीक है. Hi, who's this?
Anya,
Hi Tanya, how are you?
I'm great.
They're out there. They're just going to only enhance things. And that, what does that mean for students?
I'm not really sure about what consulting is, but
Mm-hmm.
personally, I joined this course um for my caste requirements. Though when I read the criteria as to what y'all are gonna teach us, I was
Mm-hmm.
genuinely interested because it has concepts such as SWOT analysis.
I
Or
mean, have you heard about consulting about any of your friends?
yeah,
Or
I have heard it, but I don't have a deeper knowledge of it.
okay, so what's your first impression about consulting as in?
Consulting could be giving opinions or advice
Uh-huh.
um
ठीक है.
based on your expertise.
Right. ठीक है. Anyone else, guys? Anyone else who wants to talk and share what does he feel, what is consulting? Okay, chalo, I'll give you a basic overview of what is consulting, and before that I'll share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yep.
Right. So this was as I talked about, I founded the consulting club in our college, and this was the very first video that I saw in my first year, and I didn't know what consulting was. I didn't know why consulting was so sought after. But after this was my first interaction with consulting, so I thought this video everyone should watch and actually understand why consulting is such so important, perhaps in the industry. So if you guys know, if I'm not sure what your backgrounds are, but if you guys know that around 30-35% of all IIM graduates end up with a job in consulting, and even in better IIM colleges such as IIM ABC and ISB, that number is even higher. So a lot of people want to get into consulting, and sometimes a lot of people don't go into consulting because they can't get in. So consulting is really sought after, and we'll try to understand why is it so sought after, uh, and see what does it mean to be a consultant.
A lot of really sexy.
Is my
Yeah, it's audible. It's audible.
audible? No?
There are a lot of really sexy titles for a variety of jobs. A developer develops something, you know. A manager at least manages something. It's not that sexy, but consultant just consults. How is that so sexy? Like, how has that become so aspirational and so attractive for so many people to get into? Why was it attractive for you? Why did you decide to become a consultant?
So thanks. I love the fact that it's a sexy title. I've never thought of it like that, but I'm going to go home a little prouder today. So look, kind of let me rewind back,
Yeah.
right? And talk about when I joined MBA, I actually didn't know what consulting was. So I'm from IIM Calcutta. Back in 2008, I joined IIM Calcutta. I had no idea what banking was, what consulting was. I was a software engineer for a year, and I went in. I knew a few MBAs, few managers.
I think things have changed right now. For example, Aditya Dara is the MD of a very big consulting firm. So he's talking about his time where he did not know what consulting was in his MBA days. But I think things have changed. A lot of undergrads now know what consulting is and even end up with a consulting job just after engineering or just after their undergrad. So I think the things have changed as compared to what Aditya is talking about his own experience.
People who were managing companies, you know, senior positions, and I thought general management was the shit, right? We need to go there, we need to do this, and the idea being that
मैं किसी दिन CEO बनूंगा.
मैं किसी दिन CEO बनूंगा. Also, I love my job. I love my software engineering job. We were developing like the most cutting edge thing. I was in a product company, but then I was still a small cog in the giant machinery, right? And MBA was a way for me to get much more impact, right? If I am spending time, doing a job, I kind of want just two things out of it. One, I enjoy what I do, so it should like really my time spent, because that's the only thing I have. And second, it gives me good money, right? That's pretty much the two things that I wanted from my job. And so I said, let's do an MBA and do this, much better. Once I came into MBA, I discovered all the different jobs that were available.
How was that? Like the first month at IIM Calcutta, it's usually like two extremes. It's either like फट गई है यार, मतलब मैं ये कैसे मैं survive करूँगा, or it's like yeah, I've got this, I'll handle it. What was your feeling like?
It was bad, right? I remember sleeping at 4-5 a.m., getting up at 8 to do lectures, and then just not having enough time during the day to get all the shit that I needed to do done, right? And it was bad, I think, all the way up to my summer placement. Summer placements usually happen around November, so all of you guys who are going to go and do MBA, just forget about sleep. And the good thing is, I enjoyed it. it was bad. There was a lot of stress. Everybody was like really stressed about a bunch of things in life, but it also, I think 70% of all I learned was within those 2 trimesters, right? And so, back to, I'm deciding then what to do.
Yeah.
And consulting turned out to be really sexy, right?
So you agree consulting is sexy?
Of course I agree, right? Like I said, I'm going to be...
You're preaching to the choir there.
Yes. But it came out to being, you're out of B school. And my first month out of B school, I remember I was working on a project, and we were doing a cost-saving project for somebody, and I saved 60 crore rupees for that company. Whatever you imagine.
So this is something that I really want to talk about. That here he talked about saving 60 crores for a company, and he's not the MD, he's not the CEO, he's not anyone big to actually save 60 crores. He's just an entry level associate, just out of MBA or just out of engineering, and he's moved his way into a company and he's saved 60 crores. So one of the most important things about consulting is that whenever you enter a company, you are a lineman, and then you grow, you manage 10 people, then you grow, then you manage 100 people, and that is how you grow into a company. And probably at the end of your career, around 60, 65 or 70 years of age, you actually become the CEO. I mean, for some other companies, maybe a little younger, but that is how generally it works. So the reason everyone wants to do consulting, or the reason consulting is so sexy as they talk about, is because you just enter the C-suite. You enter just as a 22-year-old, just as a 23-year-old, you just enter the world of the CXOs, and you get to talk to them. You understand how they're thinking. CXOs are CEOs, CFOs, and COOs. So otherwise you wouldn't have access to such people. You wouldn't understand how these people think. So perhaps consulting propels you to such a higher level of hierarchy and pays you a lot, obviously. So these are perhaps one of the 2 reasons that consulting is so sexy. And he'll talk about how he manages and how he delivers impact as a consultant.
Consultants are paid. This is a few, 3-4 zeros beyond my salary of that time. So I was really excited, and that kind of impact I don't think I could have had straight out in any other job. I also speak to the CEOs of companies, promoters of companies. I'm all talking about my first year. And they listen. And they listen because you have to earn the right to be able to consult, like you said.
How do you earn the right? By getting into a BCG, or do you have to do more after that?
Let me talk about that. But yeah, that's kind of what makes it sexy, right? What makes it sexy is, are you creating impact for me? Are you creating impact? Are you able to do, as somebody fresh out of B school or few years out of B school, because of the company you're in or because of what you're doing,
right,
how much impact can you create? And I think just the disproportionate amount of impact that you're able to create, disproportionate amount of things that you're able to influence and companies that you're able to move forward, just makes it sexy for me, right? What doesn't hurt is the nice amenities that come with it. I love.
Tell us a little bit about that. What are some of the nice amenities? Yeah, तुम undergrad में या college में भी, like during your MBA also, you don't see a lot of really fancy 5-stars, yes, or swanky cars or expensive suits or anything of that sort. When was it that it hit you that यार ये तो कोई अलग level की lifestyle है?
I remember, so I got called in early to join. Everybody else joined it around July, August. They said, look, we're sold out. You need to join early. Everybody's going to be joining in July. You can join on either 10th of May or 17th of May.
Wow.
Okay.
What options?
Yeah, what options? So I said, okay, 17th of May I will join. I'm told before I join, okay, you've got 3 days and then fly out. Make sure that you have enough mind space to focus on your job. Everything else is secondary. And I loved it, right? There is something called the BCG 10, which means in the first year of consulting, people usually gain 10. But yes, when I do travel or whenever, keep your mind space free, important, that it doesn't matter, that you should not have to decide where am I going to stay.
The things that you were like, man, this is amazing. I'm getting access to such brilliant minds and I'm having a conversation with them and they are listening to me. Give me some anecdotes generally. कि क्या होता था वहाँ पे? Like, what would a CEO suddenly say and you'll be like, wow, what a mind I'm dealing with, and I'm getting to do it while I'm so young.
Yeah. So I think what's very interesting is people who are leading large companies, they think very differently. right? They're thinking about the impact of what they're doing on 5 different dimensions. Money is just one of them. Employees might be another. My competition and how it gets interpreted is the third. Government is the fourth. I mean, there's just so many things that you have to do. So in some of these conversations where you're sitting and having this conversation, it broadens your mind more than anything else. I would say every year in consulting or every 2 years in consulting is equal to about 6 outside. Both in and this is like I'm not just conjecturing. People who exit consulting 4 years out exit into something that somebody would have gotten 8 to 12 years if they were not in consulting. That's kind of how the math plays out. And
so I think we have talked about. Hi Hasdeep, am I audible? Can you just confirm once?
Yes, Yanni, you're audible.
Okay. So these are the major things that we wanted to talk about, and why consulting is so sexy and why consulting is so desirable. So I just want to understand, what did you learn from this in terms of what do you think, what kind of problems do these consultants solve? Just one second. So anyone who just wants to volunteer and talk about what do they think, what kind of problems do they talk about, and why does a CEO hire them in the first place? Anyone? Tanya, you were talking to us before. Can you step up and take responsibility? Simran, it would be great if you could just switch on your microphone and talk. अच्छा ठीक है तो to answer my mic isn't working no problem. So sales, I don't think so. Sales as in, what do you mean by sales? What I get from your is that maybe they could hire them to do the sales for them. That is probably not why consultants get paid so much to do sales. And
hello, am I audible?
yes, Shreyas, you are.
Yeah, I guess the companies hire consultants to identify right from the grassroots level problem to a very complex problem for the development of the organization to achieve the growth.
I get what you're saying, Shreyas, but don't you think that at the grassroots level, why do you think they hire them in the first place? Won't the CEO say, I've been working in this company for 30 years? What can this 22-year-old boy come and tell me about my company that I even don't know?
Yeah, sometimes it happens that the company authorities, I mean the CEOs and CXOs, won't be having ground level problem identification technique, or they must be lacking. That's why they hire engineers or consultants to do the research work. And
I
that's how
agree. That is one of the major reasons. Anyone else who wants to talk? I've seen someone has unmuted himself. Okay. So to give everyone a basic idea of what consultants do all the time is, like, this is the week 1. I mean, we're just starting into the week 1. We'll have a much extensive week 1 after we formally start the course. So to answer the question of why people hire consultants and what kind of problems do consultants solve, they solve any kind of problems that the management requires, as in, why are profits falling, why do we have to pay so much costs, or how do we improve our hiring rate, how do we hire better people, how do we stop from people leaving us, any question under the sun. And in fact, I've seen McKinsey and all of these big consulting firms actually consult for these drug cartels in in Mexico, and consult them on how to build their businesses. So they work around a 360. They have a 360 perspective of the industries that they're working for, and they consult from anything under the sun, any problem that requires solution, and you need intelligent people to come and solve it. Any consulting firm would be up and willing to solve your problem for you. So consulting is the process of helping clients solve their most pressing business problems. So, example, there are very small problems for a CXO, right? And there are very large problems. The large problem in the sense, why are my profits falling? If profits still keep falling, he loses his job. So it is very very important for the company to be profitable. So, and if they're not profitable, what can they do to turn things around? Cut costs, have more revenue, have a better product. So these are the things that consultants come in and help the company solve problems. And in this course, we will talk about how we can take this problem, divide it into certain parts, and solve each part. So we'll teach you how to solve certain problems, and we might not at the end of this course, you might not be able to solve a problem for say HUL or a Reliance, but you will start thinking in the right direction. Will help you structure your thinking, and will help you start thinking in the right direction, in the sense that you understand what you need to do further to actually be a better consultant, right? So and as Shreyas talked about, that they're simply unable to get out of the problem. As in, they know what's happening, but they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know what's happening at the ground. They're always sitting in their offices. They don't know what their linemen are thinking. They don't know what their subordinates are thinking. To actually understand and get a better picture of what these guys are thinking, how we can uh, build better strategies for to actually improve the company, they hire consultants, right? And sometimes you need intelligent people in your business, as in the sense that you know that if you spend 200 rupees to solving a problem in your company, and you can hire just someone who could solve it for 100, right? So if someone could solve a problem for 100, it doesn't make any sense for you to solve your own problem by spending 200. So if they want to get there cheaper, if they want to get there faster, they hire consultants. Hi, Clint. If can you guys just mute this guy? I think
Yeah, don't worry.
Right. And one of the major things that people join consulting, and why people hire consultants, is because consultants know the industry. For example, if you are selling a product and it has A, B, C, D, E as its constituents, as its raw materials, and you are sourcing A, B, C, D, E at some rates that are predefined. So sometimes even you wouldn't know that you're sourcing those things at a higher rate. How will consulting firms know? They have worked with your competitor, and they know that E comes at 40 rupees per piece, but you are buying it at 45. So consultant firms will come and tell you, no, you're buying E at a very high rate. The market standard for E is 40 and you're buying 45. You need to cut down costs and negotiate a better price with your vendor. So these are the things that consulting firms are hired for, and these are the things that consultants uh, get hired for. There are majorly 6 types of consulting, right? Strategy consulting, management consulting, operations, financial advisory, human resource, and IT. IT consultants are that, for example, we need to set up systems that to solve a particular problem. But in this course, we're not talking about IT, HR, financial consulting, or operations consulting. I mean, you need to have certain knowledge of finance, IT, and operations to actually be a better management consultant. But here we are talking about majorly solving problems for the C-suite, solving problems for the CXOs. So we'll be majorly talking about management consulting in this course, and we'll start about these concepts of MISI. And just give me a second, I'll open Clinify. It would be great if you could see this video made by Harshdeep. He talks more about what we are going to do in this course. But to give you a very week by week level things of how we are going to proceed, we talked about what is consulting today only. But now we'll talk about what is concept of MISI, where we break down very very large problems into smaller chunks and help you solve the smaller chunks one by one, right? So we help. Then we use the 80-20 principle or the Pareto's principle, where we talk about how you can prioritize the smaller chunks, as in how you can prioritize your problems and how you can optimize life. And then how to make an issue tree, very again consulting focused, and how you can formulate your initial story, as in consulting presentations are all about story. I mean, every presentations are all about story. How do you build the narrative, how do you build your story? So we'll talk about that in the first week. And in the second week we talk about basic business frameworks. I mean, a lot of you might have already known them if you have studied business in undergrad. But even if you haven't not, these are very basic business concepts that everyone should know. Even if you don't, for mostly engineers don't know them. So we'll talk about them so that these are the very basics that everyone should know. And advanced frameworks are, these frameworks are actually what they use in the industry. And McKinsey 7S framework or the BCG growth matrix. I mean, everyone, not even BCG, apart from a lot of companies apart outside of BCG also use the BCG growth matrix. So we'll talk about these advanced business frameworks after laying the foundation with basic business frameworks, and then we'll actually give you a problem. Then we'll actually give you a problem and we'll ask you to present it. And how do you present it? I mean, you know what's the solution is, you know what's the story, but you still don't know how to make slides. You still don't know how to uh, present and structure your data. So we'll teach you how to make slides. And some, please don't take this please do not please take this very seriously, because sometimes a lot of people think that, yeah, we know PowerPoint, we can make slides. But slide making is actually a very, very, very important skill, that not just in consulting but across domains, whether you are in finance, whether you are in consulting, whether you are in tech, you always need to give presentations. And the ability to make very good quality crisp slides is very important, and a lot of people don't know even if they know all the features of PowerPoint. And then what we'll do is we'll use data analytics. We'll talk about data analytics using Excel. So Excel is perhaps the most used software in the industry, or it's perhaps the most used software in your corporate life. So even if you don't want to do consulting, doing this week 5 for using Excel will be a very good tool for you to in any non-tech job that you are trying to get into. So any non-technical job, as a non-CS job, Excel will be a very important skill that you need to have. And finally, this is perhaps the most I take this uh, week very seriously, in terms of we'll teach you how to build your resume. We'll teach you how to build uh, how to do case studies. We'll teach you how to speak in an interview, how to talk in an interview, how to behave like a consultant, so that you could actually talk with a CEO or a COO. So we have two plans here. First is the basic plan, and second is the advanced plan. The only difference between basic and advanced is that you get one-on-one sessions with us in the advanced plan, in the sense that there's something called guesstimates, which are extensively used in consulting interviews, or perhaps any non-tech interviews. Even Amazon asks them, or I've seen a lot of companies that ask guesstimates, as in guess how, they ask you to guess how many phones are sold in the United States in a year, or this they ask you to guess how many people use the metro every day. So there has to be a structured approach to it. We'll talk about them in our lectures, but to actually have a one-on-one session would, I think, would be very beneficial. So we'll have mock interviews for you, so that you could solve case studies. Even if you're not preparing for a job, it will help you uh, structure your thinking. We'll give you cases on how we can improve profit. We will give you profitability case, as in if a company's profits are declining, what can we do to improve them? So that's a profitability case. So in the advanced package, we'll include one guesstimates one-on-one session with either me or Hasdeep, and one-on-one case session with either me and Hasdeep. So these are the two plans that we are saying. And we'll this 6-week course will be done. The lectures will be taken over the weekends, and we'll give you assignments, and to see what actually have you learned over these lectures. So we'll give you assignments, and you could do those assignments over the week. We'll always be available on call depending on your plan, and we'll try to focus and solve all your problems.
during the week while you solve those assignments. So I think this would be it. Harshdeep, do you have anything to add towards the end?
No, I guess you've covered it all.
Okay. Right. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Harish, is there anything else? Any closing thoughts?
I mean, if you guys have any questions, you can ask it in the comment
Yeah.
section.
Any questions?
We can have like a quick Q&A.
Yes, we can. What would be the timings for this? Timings are very flexible. They are not. We'll see when everyone is available. We'll schedule the timings accordingly. But mostly the lectures will be on the weekends when everyone is free and no online classes or tests. Alright, thanks. No
Also,
problem.
I've shared the link, so you guys can sort of click on it and register on the link.
Can we
It's in
get the
chat.
package part slides for reference? Sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. Package part as in the salary. Salary for an entry level consultant is after MBA is 30 lakhs per year. If you want to know that. How long is the course? The course is for 6 weeks. 6 weeks as in 6 or 7 lectures across the weekend and 6 assignments. I was asking about course details. Acha. Shreyash, you could, Harish has put this link, cleanify.in/consulting. You could go there and you could see the packages. MBA from any tier college? No, it depends. They're just like the tiers of MBA colleges, there are tiers of consulting firms. So they're very small consulting firms, they're very large consulting firms. So if you are from a tier 1 college, so it improves your chance of getting into a tier 1 consulting firm. Any other questions, guys, that you think we need to answer? I think, Harish, that would be it. No more questions.
Cool, guys. Thanks so much for coming. Thanks, Anjum. Thanks, Harshdeep.
Thank you, Harish. Thank you so much.
And guys, if you have any questions, you can ask it on the WhatsApp groups. There is a WhatsApp group made for the consulting course. So if you have any questions, feel free to DM the admins and we'll be happy to answer the questions. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much.